K Bullets YouTube channel.
Hurry up, now tell us why you're here.
Now, K.A., why is there an image of Ernie Gearson? Well, as you saw from the title of this video is about the top 5 oldest living Piston Cup racers. Spoilers, Ernie Gearson is not on this list, but I'm showing him here as of 2016, he was the oldest active Piston Cup racer, well into his 60s. But this list contains cars that are much older than he is. And also, this is the top 5 as of December 14th, 2024, the day that this video was made and uploaded. Now, onto the list. Number 5 on this list is David Locke, who was born on January 7th, 1924, which means that he turned 100 years old earlier this year. His Piston Cup career spanned from 1948 until 1957. During those 10 seasons, not much really happened as he didn't get any wins. He did get 18 top 5s and 27 top 10s. He started at pole position one time, and he also led many laps. He was also the first Piston Cup racer to be sponsored by Tank Coat. Many fans made fun of him because of his pink color, but he didn't let that stop him, as over 50% of the time that he raced, he would finish on the lead lap. And of course, he got 18 top 5s and 27 top 10s, and finished in the top 20 many more times. Maybe this guy would beat Nick Charger in a race. But do remember, David Locke is 100 years old. Now, number 4 on our list is Bob Rhodes, who was born only 2 days before David Locke on January 5th, 1924. He only raced in the Piston Cup for 3 seasons, from 1947 until 1949. And he was a very relaxed Piston Cup racer. A guy who liked to chill out. He also spent most of his racing career promoting the Louisiana State League, as Louisiana is his home state. And this image of him that you see here was taken when he was at the beach. He didn't win any Piston Cup races though, only getting 3 top 10s and leading 9 laps. But he didn't seem to mind that his racing stats weren't all that good, because he raced because it was fun, not because he was trying to win. Mostly racing in the Louisiana State League, and maybe occasionally in some lower Piston Cup divisions. He retired for good in 1984 at the age of 60 because he was no longer enjoying racing. Well, he was becoming an older car, so I can understand. But he would briefly be Tommy Redstop's crew chief in the Piston Cup from 1993 until 1996. They weren't particularly successful. Being relaxed is one of the main reasons that Bob Rhodes has lived so long. I mean, he's 100 years old and will turn 101 very soon. Third on this list is Edward Colcar, who was born on October 8th, 1923. If you watched last year's version of this video, where I didn't speak, you might remember this guy. He didn't win any races though, getting 7 top 5s and 22 top 10s. He also started at pole position one time. Same with David Locke. He also led at least 25 laps in the Piston Cup, and his Piston Cup career spanned from 1946 until 1960. And he also never failed to qualify for a single race. A challenge that Nick Charger and Will Draftrev would fail in less than 4 weeks. He was also the Piston Cup's original Ironman, making 900 consecutive starts. He held this record until Slide Powers broke his record in 1965. He's still an Ironman in my eyes though, because he's still alive at the age of 101. Celebrating his birthday less than 2 months ago, number 2 on this list is River Scott, who was number 2 on this list last year. He was born on August 29th, 1921. Which means now he is 103 years old. And also, you've probably heard of River Scott because he appears in Cars 3. And his Piston Cup career spanned from 1951, the same season the Hudson Hornet began his career, until 1973, the season where Thomasville had its last race. Unlike the previous 3 cars on this list, River Scott has actually won a Piston Cup race. He won 26 Piston Cup races, although his last win was in 1964, which meant that his final 8 seasons had no wins. And He is the only number 34 car to win a race, as none of the Truck Fresh cars that came after him won a race, or any of the other cars that were number 34. He would briefly be back in the Piston Cup from 1999 until 2001 as a pit reporter, where he interviewed Darrell Cartrip in his last Piston Cup race in 2000, when he was done substituting for Slide Park in the number 1 Pennzoil car. Even then, River Scott was not done with his involvement in the Piston Cup, because before the 2017 Piston Cup season, he, alongside Junior Moon and Luis Barnstormer Nash, would help Lightning McQueen and Cruz Ramirez prepare for the 2017 Florida 500 and went on to watch the race at the track. He also still follows the Piston Cup closely and is hoping to watch the 2025 Piston Cup season. Now, for the oldest living Piston Cup racer, we have Ya Chun Fei, who was born on January 20th, 1920, which means that he will turn 105 years old very soon. And his Piston Cup career spanned from the very first race in 1940 until 1959, when he retired. He is also the very first Piston Cup racer who was not born in the United States to win a Piston Cup race, as he was born in China. He also served in the U.S. Navy during World War II with Wainford Bradford Rutherford, the grandpa of Winford Bradford Rutherford. Ya Chun Fei would get his U.S. citizenship in 1945 through his military service. And the Fei 400, the second race at Pocono for many Piston Cup seasons, is named after him, as Ya Chun Fei was very good at racing at this track, winning the race 14 times in a row. How does any racer win the same race 14 times in a row? How? In total, Ya Chun Fei would win 70 Piston Cup races, only 4 fewer than the Hudson Hornet, and would also win 1 Piston Cup in 1947. And Ya Chun Fei would become the first Piston Cup racer to lead 10,000 laps, a feat that has only been replicated by around 30 other Piston Cup racers. He would also hold the record for largest number of laps led in the Piston Cup, around 16,000 laps, until 1970, when Drive Parkerson would break his record. But Ya Chun Fei had a habit of winning Piston Cup races in the most boring ways possible, off of fuel mileage or without any drama. On the final lap, you saw Ya Chun Fei in the lead, and then he would win. And he's been the oldest living Piston Cup racer since September 7th, 2019, when Joseph Dieselton died. Ya Chun Fei has lived a long life through healthy habits, such as achieving inner peace. What helps this? Well, he avoids the media and the press, like RSN. This is why he rarely makes appearances in the Piston Cup after his retirement. Well, he's free from the pressure. In 2012, Andrew Axler told Kyle Bushtire, the mean yellow car, to respect his elders, like Ernie Gearson that I showed you at the beginning of the video. Andrew Axler is also a Piston Cup racer who raced at a very old age, making his last Piston Cup appearance at the age of 59 in 2012. This was a time, and still is a time, where Piston Cup racers wouldn't race past 50. Well, Andrew Axler is right. We need to respect our elders. We don't know how long they're going to be around for. We need to appreciate them when they're still alive. Their skills and their memories could be forgotten if we do not learn them. We should be grateful that so many Piston Cup racers from the early days of the Piston Cup are still alive, despite the fact that the early days of the Piston Cup were over 70 years ago. For example, Ya Chun Fei participated in the very first Piston Cup race in 1940, and he's still alive today.
Remember to press the notifications button, which goes ring, ring, ring after you press it. And lightning strikes back, and that's as if you subscribed, of course. And thank you for watching this entire video.
For those who remembered last year's video, unfortunately, Roy Bench and Ray Steeringson died this year in 2024. They were alive as of the last video, but unfortunately, they are both no longer with us. May Roy Bench and Ray Steeringson rest in peace. The 15th race of the 2016 Piston Cup season will be coming out soon enough, later on during the Advent calendar. And stay tuned for another video related to the Piston Cup or a Piston Cup racer tomorrow. Unfortunately, the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine is still going on. Ukraine is not a very old country. Ukraine is only 33 years old. Many of its people are older than the country because they were born in the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, the USSR. Vladimir Putin, the tyrant and bully that began this unjustified war in Ukraine over 2 years ago, used to be in the KGB, which was the main security agency in the Soviet Union. But did Vladimir Putin forget that Russia is the biggest country in the world? Why would he need even more land? Currently, Crimea, the Donbass, and parts of the Kharkiv, Zaporizhia, and Kherson Oblasts, around 20% of Ukraine's land area, is illegally occupied by Vladimir Putin's tyranny. Despite this, Ukraine has made gains against Russia, taking parts of Russia's Kursk Oblast. But despite this, every day it gets harder for Ukraine to win the war due to dwindling supplies. We here at the K Bullets Piston Cup YouTube channel stand with Ukraine in their struggle against Vladimir Putin's tyranny. Slava Ukrainie, Heroyam Slava! Nechai Shvetsya Daroretsia, Ukrainie Permoha! Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. May Ukraine be granted victory very soon.